From now on, we're doing Doobie Brothers at Shabbat services. Please rise and turn to page 200. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. Shalom, welcome. We are so happy to see so many of you here tonight. We have come here to thank, bless, celebrate, and honor Jill Abramson for her 12 years of dedicated service to Westchester Reformed Temple as our senior cantor. During her time at WRT, Cantor Abramson has led us in song and prayer, nurtured our minds and our souls, laughed with us and cried with us, supported and embraced us in times of trouble and pain, and lifted us higher in times of joy and celebration. During her time at WRT, Cantor Abramson proudly carried forward the special legacy left by Cantor Stephen Merkel of blessed memory by sharing her own love of art and music, Yiddish culture and song, opera and theater, by nurturing choirs, both professional and volunteer, by giving care and attention to each and every child who attained the milestone of Bar and Bat Mitzvah and well beyond, in their development as Jewish adolescents. And yes, she continued Cantor Merkel's legacy through Jill's excellent taste in food and drink. At the same time, she charted new pathways for us, exploring new musical directions of art song and folk song, Broadway and pop, Israeli compositions and a cappella, piano and guitar, bringing us superb musicians who would become dear friends, most especially pianist, conductor, and composer Pete Malin-Verney. Pursuing social justice, elevating our own holy commitments, advocating for the disadvantaged, promoting gender equality and the rights of women, especially in her partnership with Women of the Wall, reaching out to the most vulnerable in our community, and sharing her humane and compassionate presence in moments great and small. During her time at WRT, Cantor Abramson touched our souls with her empathy and goodness, challenged us to reach higher on the ladder of moral development, and struck our funny bone with, among many other talents, her uncanny ability to channel Hillary Clinton. Less known, but no less noteworthy, Jill is a talented bartender, and her extensive studies, vocal training, and world travels have given her the ability to converse in many different languages, including Hebrew and Yiddish, French, Italian, Minnesotan, Indonesian, Cameroonish, and even Jive, which she speaks fluently, having watched the movie Airplane well over 1,000 times. In fact, one of her students is struggling. She has been known to offer them a little pep talk. Lay 'em down and smack 'em, yak 'em. We are especially grateful tonight to Jill's family, from her parents, Nancy and Stacy, and Ed and Sandy, many of whom are here tonight, to her devoted husband, Jonathan, and their son, Eli, for their having shared Jill so generously with all of us. Truly, Cantor Abramson, our leader, mentor, and friend, represents the best of us and in us. And as we thank and bless her leadership of our congregation, we also extend to her a heartfelt mazel tov on the professional opportunities that await, beginning in a few weeks when she will assume the spiritual leadership of Congregation Shir Ami in Greenwich, as well as the new position of Program Associate of the Debbie Friedman School of Sacred Music at the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion. We could not imagine a better leader suited to these exciting roles. Please join me in expressing our appreciation and congratulations. We have a wonderful program for you tonight. It gives me great pleasure to invite forward WRT's next senior cantor, Amanda Kleinman, who has worked so hard along with so many dedicated volunteers to make this evening memorable and meaningful.
It is truly an honor to serve as the MC for this program, honoring my friend and mentor, Cantor Jill Abramson. I have to say, though, that it is quite a task to plan a concert in honor of the person who taught me how to plan a concert. It is impossible to do justice to the impact Cantor Abramson has had on this community in all of the ways Rabbi Blake just mentioned. And so tonight will be an opportunity for us to hear from a small group of those people who have been touched by Cantor Abramson's leadership, and from some of those who have been blessed to call her our colleague. We begin this evening with a song of gratitude from WRT's adult choir, which, under the guidance of Cantor Abramson, has shared with our congregation and with the wider community some of our people's greatest music. The piece of music that the adult choir will be singing this evening was composed specially for this evening by a member of our congregation and our adult choir, Andrea Tabor. I could say so much more, but I will leave further introduction to Andy and to Judy Gross, devoted members of our choir and music committee. So Judy and Andy, if you would come forward at this time, along with our adult choir.
Dear Jill, I stand here as a founding member of the Cantor Jill Abramson fan club. Our fandom is vast. Look at us. Our membership reaches far and wide. Among the members are WRT, Music Committee, and our adult choir. We have been so fortunate to have been working under your leadership. And tonight we want to express our gratitude, our respect, and love. You have been our gifted teacher, wise counselor, mentor, collaborator. You have led us presenting annual programs honoring Cantor Stephen Merkel's memory, his musical legacy, and his love of Yiddish. You have mounted major choral offerings, including Bon Yeshua's masterpiece, the Hillel Psalms. You've brought luminaries to WRT, such as Zalman Malotek, David Krakauer, and Cantor Jack Mendelson, reaching out to the community to invite them to become part of the audience. Your creative vision brought a midday music salon featuring opera arias and Italian Jewish songs. And more recently, a Jewish encounter with opera presented with a full complement of cantors, rabbis, and spouses, delighting us all. There was also a jazz brunch, bringing the spirit of New Orleans to WRT with Pete Malinverni's trio. And speaking of Pete Malinverni, another kudo, Pete. You certainly have brought us a treasure, Jill, when you brought Pete into our lives. Jill, everything you have done has been done with integrity and kavanah, intent. In a program note that you had written for one of our concerts, you voiced that intention. Quote, "It is our hope and prayer that this concert be a symphony of melody and joy." Jill, your years with WRT have been a symphony of melody and joy. You are truly a blessing. Our heartfelt thanks is expressed in the words and music that Andy Tabor has composed.
Jill, I wrote this piece for you because words alone could never have sufficed to thank you for all that you have done for me and for us all during your time as Cantor here. Personally, I will never forget how you permitted me and then supported me as I co-opted all the music for a Friday night service, along with the choir and the band, so that I could do my first master's recital here. Your leap of faith in me was truly incredible, as was all the time and invaluable assistance that you gave to me. But that is you, our dear Cantor, always tirelessly and selflessly putting yourself out for anyone who needs you. I will also remember how you gave me strength and solace during the many years of my parents' illnesses, continuously asking not just about them, but about how I was doing, and how you went above and beyond to make my dad's funeral so personal and meaningful for me and my family. And I can also never forget how you were there for me during my complete and utter meltdown over an issue that was probably insignificant compared to most that you have been asked to deal with. Yet, you didn't try to minimize my feelings. Instead, you validated them and truly talked me off the ledge. As you have done with so many of us, you made me feel that I mattered and offered sage and productive advice. And afterwards, I again marveled at the depth and breadth of the extraordinary gifts that you have so generously shared with this congregation. Yes, your music has been a wonderful gift, and we will treasure all the memories of services, concerts, women's seders, and more. But even greater, your empathy, compassion, and wisdom well beyond your years will forever remain in our hearts. So it is from the heart that this song was written, and from our collective hearts that we now sing it for you. It is our small way of saying Todah. Thank you, Jill, for everything.
I'd like to add a special word of thanks as well to our extraordinary High Holy Day quintet who joins us this evening as well, to Phyllis Whitehouse, Elizabeth Farnham, Grace Check, Cameron Smith, and Hayes Biggs. Thank you for joining us tonight as well. One of the many innovative and visionary programs Cantor Abramson brought to WRT was our summer stage concert. This concert, featuring contemporary folk and rock music, teaches us that the music we sing outside of the sanctuary can be sacred too. There is meaning to be found in the music of Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, and of course, the Indigo Girls. And there is holiness in the act of bringing together community to share in an evening of fellowship and song. And so at this time, I'd like to invite forward 3 of the people who have made our summer stage concerts dynamic and engaging: Randy Kulang, Erica Radin, and Jen Rosen.
I am so honored to be on the stage tonight celebrating Cantor Abramson, and thrilled to have been a co-chair of the event tonight along with Lisa Eisenstein. One reason that the WRT community loves Cantor Abramson so much is that she always goes above and beyond the typical responsibilities of a cantor. She has made many deep and personal connections across the congregation over the years. I'll never forget getting the invitation, along with Jen Rosen and Erica Radin, to join her in her vision for Summer Stage. In her generous and inclusive way, Jill identified an opportunity to bring congregants and clergy together in a unique celebration of music. I know I speak for everyone when I say we all cherish those summer evenings singing on the lawn at WRT, and will always have fond memories of singing with Jill. All of us share a mutual love and respect for the Indigo Girls, and every summer stage it became tradition to sing an Indigo Girls song. So tonight we want to share with you a rendition of their song, Watershed.
Crossing is
At this time, to share words of love and gratitude, I would like to invite forward those past presidents with whom Cantor Abramson has had the privilege of collaborating during her time at WRT. Bill Miller, Bill Blumstein, Margie Miller, Ellen Sunnis, Lisa Messenger, and Helene Gray. Amy Lemley, who is unable to be with us this evening, sends her love from abroad.
Margie's going to solo. I think so, right? Okay. She's a fabulous teammate with talent off the chart, who has served in every venue and always done her part. She has used her head so wisely and sung with all her heart. We will always love her, well, she must depart. With piano or guitar, Jill will always be a star. She has been from near and far. She raises spirits at the bar. Now she'll be at HUC. How lucky can they be? But it won't be the same without this dame. Happy?
Now some more talent, okay? So each of us carries a song in our soul. As we go off into the future, we should, according to the Talmud Berachot, recite a traveler's blessing. It is incumbent upon us to offer this prayer regardless if it is a short journey, a dangerous one, or simply a new adventure. Rabbi Heschel points out that Jewish prayer is guided by two opposite principles: regularity and spontaneity, joy and expectancy. So it seems most fitting that we offer the Tiferet Adar to you, Jill, since you have filled our lives with a song that resides in your soul.
Cantor Jill Abramson, for 12 years, you have brought your heart, soul, and mind to Westchester Reformed Temple. Tonight, we honor who you are and where you have brought us as a community. Your music and your pure being brought us closer as a community and closer to Judaism. You led us with your heart and your music. Your collaborations with Pete Malinverni were legendary. We traveled through musical time from Yiddish to jazz to contemporary selections. When you sang or played guitar, or when you shared space on the stage with other singers, performers, you welcome all prayers to ascend with yours. Thank you.
May we be guided in peace. Cantor Jill, you embraced every age and every stage of our community on virtually every topic. We found healing in a support group, outside a spin class, yoga retreat in the hallway or in a parking lot. From tots to teens, to free birds, to our most sage members, Cantor Jill, you were ready to lead, walk beside us, follow us for every journey.
May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen. Cantor Jill, your leadership has been felt in every dimension of this synagogue's life. You are strong and compassionate, organized and flexible, self-assured while truly humble. Your collaborative spirit is unique and inspiring. Cantor Jill, you are truly a generous leader who embodies the belief that community is stronger together.
May we be sheltered by the wings of peace. Cantor Abramson, you have led us towards activism. Many of us have studied with you and explored various topics related to women's roles in Jewish life and in the world through your Rosh Chodesh sessions. We practiced yoga, not me, and explored other channels of spiritual enlightenment at retreats. We celebrated Passover through song and dance at the Women's Seder and with our Muslim community sisters.
May we be kept in safety and in love. Cantor Jill inspired each of us to reach deeper into text, into self, into music. You are authentic and dedicated. Your strength from the bima, classroom, hospital bed, or hallway has lifted us up and asked us to become more invested in our Judaism.
May grace
And compassion find their way to every soul. We wish our beloved Jill an inspired, safe trip on her next journey, and know that travelers she meets along the way, like us, will be blessed for sharing her love and talents. Cantor Abramson and her husband Jonathan, son of Eli, an extended family, will be missed and always welcomed at our WRT home.
Cantor Abramson is beloved not only by all of us at WRT, but by her colleagues, among whom she has distinguished herself as a leader in the American Conference of Cantors. Cantor Abramson is also a valued mentor and teacher of cantorial students at the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion's Debbie Friedman School of Sacred Music, where she was recently appointed to an exciting new position in which she will continue to shape future generations of the cantorate. Cantor Richard Cohn, director of the Debbie Friedman School of Sacred Music, is so sorry that a prior commitment prevents him from joining us this evening, and he asks me to share his words of congratulations to Cantor Abramson. He writes, Cantor Abramson's appointment as program associate in the Cantorial School of HUC-JIR is being received with the greatest enthusiasm. In her new part-time role, Jill will bring to the DFSSM the same wonderful qualities that have distinguished her service to WRT, and the outstanding experiences she has enjoyed as your cantor will, through her leadership and her teaching, enrich the experiences of our students at the College Institute. With regrets for being out of the city this weekend, please accept my greetings on behalf of all of us at HUC-JIR. We are thrilled now to welcome to WRT's bima these treasured colleagues of Cantor Abramson: Mary Arian, Cantor's Vicki Axe, Shannon Becker, Ellen Dreskin, Freda Mendelson, Jack Mendelson, David Rosen, Tracy Schur, Benji Schiller, and Laura Stein. A special welcome to those colleagues who join us in the congregation. Please come on up.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Schur. I am the cantor just down the street at Larchmont Temple. I stand with you this evening on behalf of all of my colleagues who are here to pay tribute to a woman who I am honored to know, not just as a fellow cantor, but as a best friend. We are all here this evening sharing one thing in common: the incredible love we feel for our friend, our teacher, our mentor, our cantor, Jill Abramson. Jill, we are privileged to have you in our lives for so many reasons. The gifts that belong to you alone, but which you share so generously, have impacted and inspired how we live our lives. Of the 48 virtues, known as midot in Hebrew, that are listed in Pirkei Avot, you, Jill, live all of them. A listening ear, a perceptive heart, loving God, seeking truth, cleaving to friends. I could go on with all 48, but I've been told that I only have 1 minute to speak. But the midah that's often overlooked, but perhaps the greatest, that bears your name the most, is humility. We read in Numbers 12:3 that Moses, the greatest leader of the Jewish people, was very humble, more so than any human on the face of the earth. Humility is considered a state of being, highlighted by one's behavior and approach. When one is humble, there is no ranking of worth or need to prove oneself. It is simply the understanding that one is nothing more and nothing less than others. One who is humble is confident enough to empower and elevate others. One who is humble seeks to understand the true value of things, not who is right, but what is right. And all of this leads to honest and open punim to punim relationships. Jill, you have transformed the lives of so many people because of your gift of humility. When we are with you, we feel seen and heard and loved without fear of judgment. This is the gift that is so uniquely yours, and we thank you for sharing it. I know I speak on behalf of everyone here when I tell you how grateful and lucky we are to have you in our lives. We wish you only health, happiness, and abundant blessings as you move into a new chapter of your life.
And so the piece we are honored to sing for you this evening, and all of you, is a setting of the final psalm in the book of Psalms, Psalm 150. And were there a text that could somehow embody you, this psalm is about praise. And a cantor of cantors allows us, gives us permission, encourages us to summon our inner voice to praise in whatever way we can, whatever way we will, whatever way we feel connects us. And Jill, what makes this psalm distinct is the invitation for all of us, every instrument, to be who we are, as this program tonight demonstrates just in the music and the words we've heard so far. The psalm asks for every voice, strings, reeds, shofar, toph, cymbals, dance. We are all a part of the cacophony of praise, of hallelujah. We are all invited to be who we are and to bring that praise forward. And Jill, from the depths of each of the instruments we embody, we thank you for modeling that, for giving us the freedom to shout joy and praise in our deepest song, hallelujah.
Alleluia, 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 alle
blessed are we to have had the opportunity to sing this composition by Cantor Benji Ellen Schiller, led by Cantor Schiller herself. Thank you. Every Erev Rosh Hashanah, a teen choir conducted by Cantor Abramson stands on this bima to sing a text from the Amidah prayer entitled Lador Vador, from generation to generation. The chorus of this song, written by Josh Nelson, reads as follows: Lador Vador Nagid Godlecha, Lador Vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, Lador Vador, these lips will praise your name. For 12 years, Cantor Abramson has transmitted the sacred traditions and melodies of our people from one generation to the next, and has supported and cared for our young people during their milestone moments and transitions. When we reached out to some of the young people of our community to ask them to share their words of gratitude, there was such an outpouring of love that we are unable to share all of the tributes submitted to us this evening. Those letters will be printed in full and included in the tribute book presented to Cantor Abramson. At this time, to share just a few of the words of tribute on behalf of the young people of WRT, I would like to invite forward Naomi Haber.
Hello. So first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you for getting the memo about coordinating dress colors. This worked out really well. From our earliest years, Cantor Abramson has been a spiritual constant in the lives of my sisters and I. It is such an honor to be asked to put together a compilation of different tributes of the words of gratitude from the young people in our congregation. First of all, I would like to thank those who helped me to prepare for this tribute, the young people of WRT, who contributed their heartfelt reflections on their time with our beloved Cantor. Unfortunately, I could not include all remarks at the risk of speaking as much as our esteemed rabbi, although I will do my best to do justice to our words. I would also like to thank my sister Abby for helping me to prepare this compilation, and to Cantor Kleinman for, of course, organizing and emceeing this event. In reading through these complimentary remarks, the obvious overarching theme reflected our growth at WRT and how you have guided and shaped us, sending us off into the world as fully actualized Jewish adults. We are continually grateful for the profound impact that you have had on how we lead fulfilling Jewish lives. There is no better way to pay homage to you, Cantor Abramson, than to share stories and quotes written by us, the young people of WRT, whose lives have been so deeply touched by you. Cantor Abramson has tutored dozens of B'nai Mitzvot over her tenure. 2 students noted that she inspired them to pursue future careers in progressive religious environments, and more specifically in the Cantorate. In reflecting on his tutoring experience, Jacob Eisenstein wrote, "She was always supportive, even when she knew I may not have been practicing as much as I needed to, but she was never afraid to tell me when I was doing something wrong. I never felt discouraged, but I always wanted to do well to impress her." Another student of hers, Ben Rimland, affectionately encapsulated his message in the simple words, "Throughout it all, and indeed inseparable from my experience growing up at WRT, was Cantor Abramson." Not only is our Cantor an inspiring teacher and role model for us when we take to the bima, she makes everyone in the congregation feel special by smiling at them from the bima, recollected the Bilstein siblings. And if after a service she didn't have the chance to catch up with us and give us a hug, she would reach out with a Facebook message. How many people can say that about their Cantor? They said it well in reflecting the values of us and so many others. We have grown up at WRT, and as young adults, we still feel connected. Jill has been such a meaningful part of that. Through Cantor Abramson's lessons, we will feel at home at WRT for the rest of our lives. My sweet sister Abby reflected on your lasting impact on her as a Jewish leader in her collegiate life after WRT. She said, "Thank you for inspiring me to lead my own services at college. Watching the ways in which you rejoice, it's been a truly wonderful, truly holy gift." David Rosenstein insightfully comments, Her tremendous kindness, soft-spoken humility, refreshing openness, deep passion, and profound caring are who she is. He continues, an interesting thing happens when you grow up listening week by week to the same person sing the same songs and prayers in the same place. In a very large sense, when I think about what it means to be Jewish, she says, about my own Jewish identity, I imagine it in her voice. With that said, I'd like to share the poetic words of the three Tessler siblings. We don't need to tell everyone here what a wonderful singer you are, because we all know that. We don't need to tell everyone here how special you are and how positively you've impacted our lives, because we all carry your teachings with us every day. We don't need to relay stories and moments professing just how huge your heart is and what a warm and loving person you've been to our family, to our congregation, and how you open your heart and arms to the world at large. We could, but we know that already. Here's what we do want to share with everyone on this special night. Cantor Jill, you are and will continue to be a pillar of Jewish life in our community. Through your warmth, patience, and compassion, not to mention beautiful music, you've elevated and deepened our connections with our faith and traditions. Whether it's singing Vishinantan in second grade music classes, L'Ador V'Ador in the students' choir, with her angelic voice singing Miriam's song during Passover services, Cantor Abramson has been a beacon in our Jewish growth. On behalf of WRT's youth, it is my honor to thank you for being a leader, mentor, and blessing to us all.
Jill, it's so hard to go after Naomi. What beautiful words she spoke. Thank you. It is such an honor and a privilege to be up here honoring our cantor of these past 12 years. And I just wanted to speak personally for a moment to Jill and to thank you for being just such a wonderful colleague and friend and support and enabling me to continue to have this relationship with this wonderful congregation, which is so fulfilling and just amazing for me. I just wish you all of the best on your journey ahead, to you and to John and to Eli and to all of your parents who are here. It's so wonderful to see all of you. And it's just an honor to be part of this evening. We're going to be continuing with One Voice, which was one of those moments that I always remember with Jill from our summer stage concerts, not Indigo Girls, which we've sung other times, many other times together, but this is the Waylon Jennings trio, One Voice. Thank you.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one that makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This This is the sound of Voices 3. This is the sound of Voices 3. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love in the will to trust. Leave the rest behind, it'll turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of one voice, one zero, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
Cantor Abramson, you have so selflessly shared your gifts with our community. The gift of your talents, of your time and energy, of your leadership, your wisdom, your caring and deep sensitivity. For me, especially, your mentorship has been an invaluable gift for which I will remain eternally grateful. And so it is only fitting that in appreciation for all of the gifts you have shared with us, we should offer you a small token of our appreciation. WRT's President Marcy Harris is so sorry that her recovery from recent knee surgery prevents her from joining us tonight. I am honored, however, to invite forward WRT Vice President Scott Silberfein, who will present Cantor Abramson with a gift on behalf of the congregation.
So Jill, I presented many gifts on this bima to our B'nai Mitzvahs, usually with you by my side. But tonight's much more difficult for me as I get to present gifts to you as you depart WRT. I'm honored to be the one making this presentation on behalf of the congregation, but regret that it is not Marcy Harris. She's here with us in spirit, and I think via live stream. So please accept these words from Marcy on behalf of a very appreciative congregation. In case you haven't gotten the message yet, Jill, we love you. You've been an integral part of our lives for a dozen years. At the happiest times, our baby namings, B'nai Mitzvahs, Ufrufs, and weddings. In the times of greatest challenge, our divorces, job losses, illnesses, and deaths. At these momentous times and at life's smaller moments, you've been next to us, providing a smile, a shoulder, a kind and steady presence, a beautiful voice, and a beautiful heart. We are all deeply grateful. And I say all intentionally. You've touched all of us, those whose main connection to WRT is on the high holidays, those who are here every week, everyone in between. You don't have to take my word for it, just read the outpouring of love and gratitude from so many in the tribute book. These messages carry love from many, many hearts. When the tribute book is complete, weeks from now, after we've extended the deadline to all that want to share their love and thanks, and the gates have closed for good, we'll publish a hard copy of the tribute book for you, Jill, so you can treasure your friends at WRT again and again. In addition to the good wishes in the tribute book, we have another congregational gift for you. Knowing how much you love opera, we are pleased to present you with a gift certificate to the Metropolitan Opera in New York City. We left it to you to choose your performances you want to attend, on which nights, and even who you want to go with. Sorry, John. But from all of us, we hope you enjoy your nights at the opera. Jill, on behalf of a heavy-hearted congregation, thank you again for your years of service to and friendship with each and every one of us. May you experience much happiness with your family and in all that you do. You will always have a place on this bima and in our hearts.
After what seems like endless months of winter, and then fifth winter last week, now the rain is over and gone. We had the most glorious spring day to bring us into this very special tribute tonight. And I will say that among the greatest gifts that Jill has given us is the ability to sing together, making music together with dear colleagues. This, the song of Bonya Shur, with lyrics by his beloved Fanshan Shur, who was invited by Cantor Abramson to Westchester Reformed Temple to mount the late Bonya's wonderful work, Hallel Psalms, a few years ago. The rain is over and gone, setting from the Bible Song of Songs.
The winter no more sends its clouds. The rain is over. The winter no more sends its clouds. The turtle doves is in our land. It's time to blossom for flowers. Oh.
At this time, it is my honor to invite forward WRT's Rabbi Emeritus, President of the Union for Reform Judaism, Rabbi Rick Jacobs.
Rabbi Blake, did I make you just a little nervous with the music stand? To put it very simply, I'm here tonight because I love Cantor Jill Abramson, which is the same reason that each of you is here tonight as well. Working closely with Jill has been one of the greatest blessings of my rabbinate. She exudes and lives a spiritual maturity in everything that she does. She's the type of spiritual leader you can count on. I know I have and still do. In the book of Exodus, sacred artisans are described as being chacham lev, which literally means wise of heart, wise of heart. The phrase is unique and sometimes a little bit confusing to get your soul wrapped around. But it means if someone is chacham lev, they have all of the gifts of hands and heart and mind. Our Cantor has been richly endowed with chokhmat lev. It's not only about being creative, talented, and smart, which Jill is. It's also about being wise. Wisdom, it is the most essential quality for spiritual leadership, a quality Jill has in abundance. She is a wise soul. Make no mistake about it, Cantor Abramson is a first-rate artist, but she never acquired those stereotypical qualities of being temperamental, hard to work with, or mercurial. Jill is grounded and centered. She's a person of uncommon depth, strength, and goodness. During the final interviews to be senior cantor, I remember Debbie Friedman called up and wanted to know about the final candidates. And Debbie said, "Is it okay if I let you know that I have a preference?" I said, "Debbie, what will you do if I say no?" She says, "I will tell you who my preference is." She said, "Rick, there are a lot of things that are tough calls in life. This is not a tough call." She said, "Jill Abramson is as good as they get." And Debbie was right. Thankfully, the role of cantor in Jewish life is changing. We got a lot of cantors. We got the best ones looking out there in the third and fourth and rows and all over here. The role of cantor is changing. To be more precise, it's expanding. And Cantor Jill Abramson's unique gifts and talents perfectly embody the change. For too many in our Jewish world, cantors are only the sweet singers of Israel. But cantors also teach and counsel and preach and comfort and write and innovate and motivate and inspire and lead and on and on and on. The year before Roe v. Wade became the law of the land, Sally Priesand was the first woman ordained a rabbi in North America. 2 years after Roe v. Wade, Barbara Osfeld was invested as the first woman cantor. And it feels, permit me tonight especially, it feels important to locate the long overdue embrace of women as religious leaders with the 1973 landmark Supreme Court decision, which, as we all know, is at the moment greatly endangered. Having women take their rightful place in the leadership of our world, from the Supreme Court to the pulpits of America, has changed all of us for the better. At HUC-JIR, our Reform Seminary, it used to be that rabbis received ordination and cantors got something different. They got investiture. Until 2012, when the College Institute began to also ordain Cantors. In our Jewish tradition, after every meal, we praise God as Hazan et Hakol, the one who provides enough food and sustenance for the whole universe. If we midrashically change the hey to a chet, we get Baruch Atah Adonai, Chazan et Hakol. Praised is the Chazan, the cantor who has it all. Sounds like the right blessing for this night. Here are just a handful, literally a handful of ways. There could be lots of handful of ways that this cantor expands the way we see cantors altogether. As the blessing says, she's got it all. Cantor as spiritual counselor. Cantor Abramson is the kind of colleague I would turn to for guidance at critical moments in my life, as so many of you have. In the hospital, in the face of tragedy, you need someone who can hold you from free falling. Cantor Abramson is just that kind of spiritual counselor. Cantor as teacher and spiritual guide. 9 years ago, a young woman became bat mitzvah on this very bima. I know there have been a few others before and after. But I'm thinking of this one bat mitzvah. Cantor Abramson tutored her and stood right next to her on the big day. And even though her mom and dad were right beside her as well, and even though her father is a rabbi, a rather tall rabbi with a lot of gray hair, still the clergy person in that moment who was her anchor was none other than Cantor Abramson. Our little Sarah, who is going to graduate from college next week with Zrat Hashem, shared this remembrance which describes the experience of so many of us. When Sarah was chanting her Haftorah, she momentarily lost her place. And just before completely losing it, she felt this hand just gently on her back. And then that knowing nod from Cantor, no words, just that knowing nod, which told Sarah, keep going. You got this. That was vintage Cantor Abramson. And if we had the whole night and tomorrow and the next week, we would all tell stories like that. Her rapport with her students of all ages is built on trust, respect, and yes, love. The leader of prayer and ritual. There are a billion examples from this sanctuary and this congregation, an example that didn't take place here. A couple of years back, the Union for Reform Judaism's board was meeting in New York. I invited Jill to lead Havdalah. The ritual conclusion of Shabbat would come after a very potent debate. And whoever was going to lead it would just have to walk in and just feel what was going on in the room and somehow know what to do. Well, that was a piece of cake in my mind for our Jill. Well, as she took her guitar out of the case, I whispered a few comments, a few thoughts. They were kind of random. She gave me that same knowing nod that she gave Sarah. Okay, I got this. And then the Union for Reform Judaism board got to experience what WRT has known for these past 12 years. The Cantor Abramson leads with a gentle presence, an open heart, a rock-solid steadiness, and this remarkable spiritual instinct that she has. Cantor as justice activist. Cantor Abramson's passion for global social justice, it didn't start a couple of minutes ago. No, it's deep in there in the very DNA. Having lived in Cameroon, West Africa, taught English in Indonesia, and conceived of an Israeli and Arab teen choir, Jill's congregation, yes, is here, but it's all over this God creation. A few years ago, Cantor Abramson became an AJWS Global Justice Fellow. Listen to this. Her cohort was 14 rabbis and one trailblazing cantor. They spent time in the Dominican Republic learning from activists confronting widespread human rights abuses. This was not a trip with lots of creature comforts. But no worries, our Cantor Abramson doesn't need pampering, just purposeful, sacred work. In November of 2013, she led a group of WRT members to Israel to mark the 25th anniversary of Women of the Wall. And she fit right in next to the likes of Anat Hoffman, who can just rile up a whole country in just a moment. And mentor Cantor as mentor, first to cantorial colleagues. I vividly recall sitting in the congregation in the high holidays a few years ago as the proud rabbi emeritus. I was sitting right over there. It was Kol Nidre. And Cantor Abramson exhibited a kind of professional generosity, frankly, that I've never, ever witnessed. Cantor Abramson invited her supremely talented cantorial colleagues to sing Kol Nidre and Avinu Malkeinu. That's not a role that most religious leaders would share. But our beloved Jill, that's how she sees the world. And mentoring cantorial students at HUC JAR for a number of years, Cantor Abramson taught the senior seminar for cantorial and rabbinic students in their last semester of school. She co-taught the class with a rabbi's rabbi, Jeff Serkman. Those lucky students soaked up her wisdom, experience, and vision. And then there was the year when Rabbi Serkman's wife was so ill. And Cantor Abramson taught most of that class all by herself. And I'm sure those rabbinical students never again thought of cantors filling only the role of music leader. That's part of how the role of cantor is being expanded and redefined, thanks to many, but thanks to this unbelievable example of what it means to be chazan et hakol. Looking ahead, I want to be very clear. There is so much more holy work for this cantor. Yeah, she's got this remarkable new position at the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion, and I like, as you like, the name of the School of Sacred Music. It's not just the School of Sacred Music, it's the Debbie Friedman School of Sacred Music. And that means something to our cantor, and it meant a lot to Debbie Friedman. So you heard about the role, but can I know someone will tell, Benji, tell Richard that I summarized it in a rather unscientific way. That basically what Jill is going to be doing at the college is being a beacon of what all kinds of future cantors might be attracted to become. Someone who will raise the profile of all of the great, amazing gifts of that School of Sacred Music. Someone will also help rabbis to see who cantors really are, so when they find themselves in a pulpit with the gift of a cantor, they'll know how to embrace chazan et hakol. We got no doubts that you are going to help us redefine what it means to be a cantor and to help our Jewish world appreciate and know that. And yes, you will be up the road in Greenwich as the sole spiritual leader of Shir Ami. But have no worries. She is chazan et hakol. Surely the emotions of tonight are all about gratitude and love, but I want to say I'm excited. I'm excited thinking about what's ahead. I can't stop imagining the ways Cantor Abramson could take all of her God-given talents and her treasure chest of wisdom and experience to new places and new roles that we can't yet imagine. I'm concluding now. Naomi Shemer, the iconic modern Israeli composer, in her Shirat Asavim, has a teaching for all of us who lead our people, but especially for our beloved Cantor Jill Abramson. דע לך שכל רועה ורועה יש לו ניגון מיוחד משלו. Know that each and every shepherd has her own melody. Cantor Abramson, your melody is sweet. It's penetrating. It's uplifting. It's reassuring. It's healing and awakening to our souls. Cantor Abramson, you have lovingly shepherded all of us on our spiritual journeys for these past years, for which we do not have enough words to express our gratitude. You have wisely and lovingly nurtured and nourished us. You have helped us to become our best selves, and you have given us a model of spiritual leadership with exceptional integrity and depth. You have left soul prints on all of us. Go forth with our gratitude. Go forth with our blessing. Go forth with our love.
Friends, you could go through a whole lifetime and not get to experience a tribute like this. I am without words. How fitting that this coming week's Torah portion is Bahar, which means on the mountain. For surely I'm standing on one tonight. Thank you, Rabbi Jacobs, for being here this evening. I am one lucky Cantor. My dear WRT, I am bursting with gratitude. I don't know how you found the time to put this tribute together, but you clearly made the time, and I am blown away. I know there were many hands involved in sculpting this evening, but I do know that one person worked beyond the call to orchestrate tonight's event, and I thank you, Cantor Amanda Kleinman. More on Cantor Kleinman to come. Lisa Eisenstein, Randy Kulang, you've been very busy, and there have been many, many emails, I suspect. And you planned a stellar event. Thank you to you and your fabulous committee. I know a night like this is taxing on the building too. Special thanks to our extraordinary group of custodians and to Tim Wagner, our facilities manager, for pulling this off. Friends, I didn't think this time would come so soon.
Surely I thought I had another 10 years at least to give to you. But sometimes a different path finds us, and a change of course emerges. While I am deeply sad to leave, I look forward to having more time for my family and to serving the Jewish community in new ways. Jonathan and I will be staying in the community in our home in White Plains, and I want to tell you something. I will see you on the train platform. I will see you at Balducci's. I will see you at yoga. And I will always want to hear how you are doing, how your children are doing, how your parents are doing. I won't stop caring. And I know you won't either. And to all of you in this room, I thank you for being here. I happen to know that some of you are amidst treatment for illness or caring around the clock for a loved one. And I appreciate that you arranged your schedules in careful ways to be here tonight. A special word of thanks to our president, Marcy Harris, who is recovering from knee surgery and is watching by web stream. Thank you, Marcy. Thank you for your leadership and your support. I treasure it. To my cantorial and rabbinic colleagues who are here, singing and participating, thank you for giving your time during a very demanding season. I am blessed to have all of you in my life. Let me also thank and welcome my parents who are here. My father, Edward Abramson, who is here from Minnesota. My mom, Nancy Abramson, and her partner, Rabbi Stacy Offner, who are here. And my mother-in-law, Linda Malamy, is also here. I am so lucky that you are healthy and here tonight. In re-envisioning my work life and prioritizing more time with my own family, the last thing I imagined is I was going to go to another congregation. But as I said, sometimes a decision finds us. It just so happened that Congregation Shirami in Greenwich, Connecticut was looking for a part-time clergy person to lead their community following the retirement of their founding spiritual leader, Rabbi Cantor Vicky Axe. Rabbi Axe is here tonight. Vicky, I am honored to follow in your footsteps. May you go from strength to strength. As I conclude my service to WRT, I've been thinking about the many firsts that I experienced here. My first B'nai Mitzvah, my first high holidays, my first sixth grade retreat, etc. And though bittersweet, reminiscing has brought me a lot of joy. There have been so many good times I've shared with you, and in particular, with my clergy colleagues. The other day, I recalled my first confirmation retreat at Eisner Camp in Great Barrington. It was November of 2007, and I was there with Rabbi Jacobs, Rabbi Blake, and Rabbi Dan Sklar, and our then rabbinic intern, now Rabbi Rachel Steiner. It was early Saturday morning, and none of us had had much sleep, which is always the case on those retreats. I was hanging out with Rabbi Steiner, when all of a sudden, Rabbi Blake comes walking up to us with this look of abject horror on his face. Great, I figured one of the kids had misbehaved or done something really bad, or God forbid, there had been a death in the congregation and one of us was going to have to hightail it back to Scarsdale. Well, Jonathan came up to me and Rachel, looked me in the eye, then Rachel in the eye, then back at me before saying, "Do either of you have any hair product?" I think you still use more hair product than I do. Mine moves. In indeed, I am blessed to have worked with a team of outrageously talented clergy colleagues whose tenacity animates Jewish life. I could say oodles about each one of them individually tonight, but instead I wish to thank them as a team, emblematic of the way we have come to function. Jonathan Blake, David Levy, Amanda Kleinman, Daniel Reeser, Mia Fram Davidson. I will miss you dearly. We've worked hard, really hard, and we've had fun. You are a mighty team, each one of you bringing a special set of gifts. How lucky this congregation is to be served by your leadership. This year has also been made even more special by the presence of our rabbinic intern, Ariel Milan Polisar, and Cantor Laura Stein. Thank you both for all you bring. And now a word to our clergy spouses. There is a special place for you in the world to come. I swear, you are our anchors, sounding boards, sermon editors, graphic designers, performing artists, documentarians, and humorists. Kelly McCormick, Kate Stembler-Levy, Danny Mendelson, Leah Reeser, Rabbi Josh Davidson, and especially my husband, Rabbi Jonathan Malamy. You are the unsung heroes of this institution. You are the silent partners supporting us through our challenges and keeping us grounded. What we aim to do for this congregation, you often do for us. Thank you. Cantor Amanda Kleinman, I do wish to say one more thing to you. I want to share a memory, a piece of your origin story here at WRT. You see, it was 2012 and Rabbi Cantor Dan Sklar was leaving WRT and we needed more cantorial help. So I, and incoming president, Colleen Gray, went to Hebrew Union College to interview student cantors. While there were many fine students, we just didn't see anyone that year who was the right fit for us. We were faced with a difficult decision. Hire a person that may not have been a good fit, or go without one. Well, the college needed an answer, and we needed to make a decision. So I picked up the phone and I called the wisest person I know to seek advice. Rabbi Aaron Pankin of blessed memory answered the phone, as he always did when I called. After listening, he said to me, "Don't hire the wrong person. Keep looking. New York City is a big place." What a bold piece of advice that was, especially because it meant going outside of his own institution. And so I did. After a little detective work, I learned of an exceptionally talented cantorial student who was taking a year off to deepen her study of Jewish text at Drisha, the progressive women's yeshiva in Manhattan. I reached out to you, Cantor Kleinman, over Facebook Messenger, like you do, to see if you were interested in some work at Westchester Reformed Temple. I think we both still have that message. And the rest, as they say, is history. I tell that story, Amanda, not because I wish to take any credit for you being here. Rather, I tell it because it contains a sacred moment. Soon, Cantor Kleinman, you will assume the role of senior cantor. How blessed this congregation will be. But always remember, Amanda, always remember that the blessing of your being here was set in motion by the wisdom and direction of Aaron Pinkin. In that way, with Lisa's blessing, a little bit of Aaron will live on through you. And speaking of Hebrew Union College, I am honored to have been asked to help advance the mission of the Debbie Friedman School of Sacred Music. And I am eager to begin my new role there this coming August. WRT and HUC, well, we share a special bond, and I know that I will be going from one mountaintop to another. And speaking of sacred music, I wish to extend a few more thank yous to those who have helped make my musical life at WRT so rewarding. How about a round of applause for that band over there? Those 4 Israeli gentlemen make up the band, Israeli band Pilpel, which means pepper, something with great seasoning. Idan Sandhaus, Oren Nyman, Kobe Hayon, and Nadav Snir-Zelniker. The 4 of you have been a little family to me and to WRT. We've welcomed new babies, mourned losses, waited on visa applications, recorded in studios from Yonkers to Woodstock, and everywhere in between. You have pioneered with us our I Sing Shabbat, which featured a seamless integration of instruments and clergy to provide a soulful Israeli-style Kabbalat Shabbat, which appealed to both adults and children. Thank you. And to Pete Malinverdi, you have invested Friday night worship with energy and soul. You've composed pieces for this congregation and led our instrumentalists with inspiration and skill. But mostly, Pete, you play the hell out of that piano. Every last key of that beautiful Steinway that you helped to select and care for with your fullest self. It has been an honor to work closely with you over the last 10 years. Thank you. And now, back to you, my loving, sweet congregation. Here's what I'll remember about you. I will remember the moment in 2007 when Margie Miller and then President Ellen Sunnis engaged me to serve this holy congregation. I will remember dedicating this new sanctuary in September of 2009. I will remember working with you on writing letters in our own Torah scroll that sits in our ark. And I will remember the 21 of you who traveled with me to Israel in support of pluralism in the Women of the Wall in November of 2013. I will remember the sound of our choir singing Bon Yeshur's glorious Hallel Psalms or Benji Schiller's Hallelujah. I will remember a congregation that knows how to care for one another in joy and in loss, even the most catastrophic losses. I will remember watching the cutest 2, 3, and 4-year-olds through my office window as they made their way to the playground. And I will remember the sound of your singing voices filling this room in joy and in love for the Jewish people. And above all, I will remember that this is the congregation where I worked with you, not merely for you, but truly with you to create meaningful Jewish life. Now, here's what I want you to remember about me. Okay, Michael, you put up the slide. This was from our fundraiser when we spoofed the Book of Mormon, which we called the Book of WRT, where Peter Wang and I had a great time in starched white shirts from Costco. We had fun here. I had fun being your cantor. That's a picture of me with a 45-pound halibut, which I caught off the coast of Homer, Alaska about 9 years ago. Took about 30 minutes to reel it in while harnessed to the boat so it wouldn't pull me in. Make time for the things you love, people. This is one thing I love. Make the changes to pursue your interests. We know too well that curveballs can come flying at us at breakneck speed. This past year is evidence of that, as if anyone needed additional proof. Live with gusto. Take the trip. Don't put it off. This is a picture of my younger brother, Charlie Abramson. He's an ER physician, and he lives in Aspen, Colorado, with his wife, Heather, who you see there, and their daughter, Sage, now 3 months old. If you ever find yourself in Aspen with a skiing or a hiking injury or altitude sickness and you need a doctor, and I hope you don't, he's there, and he'll take good care of you. Family matters. Eli's now almost 8. It's kind of an old picture. He was blessed on this bema by Rabbi Jacobs. He went through the early childhood center. The message here, once again, family matters. It matters deeply for me. And the time has come for me to be available to my family in a different way. Here's the final thing I want you to remember about me. Please remember that I was the first woman to be named senior clergy in the history of our congregation. Of course, there were many amazing women that served you as rabbi and cantor, but not in a senior role. I mention this not out of ego, although I am deeply proud of it, but because it meant that you helped to shatter part of that glass ceiling. Your vision and your courage gave me a mantle that I will treasure forever. Friends, I want to leave you with a last consideration about endings and something called the myth of closure, a phrase coined by Dr. Pauline Boss, Professor Emerita at the University of Minnesota. You see, Professor Boss teaches that we don't actually put things behind us in a final or finished way. That is to say that powerful experiences, whether painful or joyous, don't really close in any neat and tidy fashion. Instead, Professor Boss teaches that those experiences go on to live inside of us, always informing who we are. The idea of closure, while appealing, is actually more of a false construct than we think. The real spiritual work, in the case of a painful event, is preventing the traumatic moments from continuing to hijack us when they shouldn't. And in the case of life's greatest joys, well, the spiritual work there is to be present enough to experience them without distraction, and to be able to draw upon their power in the future when we need their lift again. While I am concluding my service to this holy community, this most meaningful, joyous, and life-changing moments that I have experienced here with you do not close. They're absorbed into me and will lodge themselves deeply into the fiber of my being. Perhaps the great American poet E.E. Cummings said it best when he wrote, "I carry your heart with me I carry it in my heart. I am never without it. Fare thee well, WRT. Lehitraot. Catch fish. Big ones. Reel them in. And I'll see you on the next mountaintop. To those beautiful words, we can say only Amen. Jill, this was supposed to be a night during which we were blessing you, but it is you who has offered the blessing to us. Cantor Schur, earlier this evening, so aptly pointed out that you embody the quality of humility. You love to use the word ashrenu. How lucky are we to refer to everybody except for yourself? And so tonight it is our opportunity to say, Ashrenu, how grateful are we to have had you in our lives and in our congregation. As we move into the concluding portion of our program, I was going to offer a long list of thanks to all of those who helped to make this beautiful evening possible, but Jill, you offered those thanks so beautifully, and so I will only reiterate my thanks to all of those who participated in this evening as performers, as speakers, to all of those who worked behind the scene to make sure that every detail of this evening came together. The biblical book of Ecclesiastes reminds us, to everything there is a season. Jill, we hope that you have been able to measure this season of your life in the love and gratitude of this community. We wish for you that this next season of your life, too, is a season of joy and laughter, of fulfillment and meaning, and most importantly, of love.
I'd like now to invite back up to the Bema all of the singers who participated in this evening's program. So all of our vocalists, our adult choir, our high holiday quintet, and all of Cantor Abramson's colleagues to come and join us. There's a lot that we're going to miss about Cantor Abramson as she makes her departure from WRT. And I think the thing that I'll miss most of all are the moments on our Bema or in houses of mourning when Cantor Abramson is so obviously praying with sincerity. For the past 12 years, Cantor Abramson has prayed with us, and it's not just that she's singing, it's that the words that are coming out of her mouth are real and true. And now we all have the opportunity to give back to Cantor Abramson what she has given to us these past 12 years, which is the opportunity to offer a prayer for her. We'll offer this Tefillat HaDerech, this traveler's prayer. The words can be found inside of your leaflet, and Cantor Kleinman will signal when it's time for the congregation to join in. And I ask that we'll all do this in the way that Cantor Abramson would do it herself, which is not just to sing along, but for every single one of us to dig down deep and truly offer a moment of prayer.
May we be blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen. Same words again, all together.
So before we conclude prayerfully this beautiful tribute and also this Shabbat with our Havdalah, join me one more time in thanking Cantor Kleinman, who organized our concert tonight. Maybe this one. I'm worried that I don't remember the details. That's just so strange. But nevertheless, I've been asked to introduce Havdalah.
And I have to say before that I was so lucky to really have the best seat in the house. Not only that I was able to enjoy everyone who sang on this bima so beautifully, but that I could see you, Jill, my friend and colleague, and I've been so honored to work with you these past 7 years. Havdalah is the way in which we end Shabbat, but I really don't like to think of it as a goodbye. It's really a tribute and a thank you. In so many ways, it recognizes the experience we've had tonight. The braided candle is a thank you for the connections we've made. The Kiddush wine, a thank you for the joy we've shared. And the spices for the sweet memories that we have to carry with us. Please join me in ending Shabbat. tribute and turn to the person next to you and wish them Shavua Tov, may it be a very good day.